Hello and welcome to IGN's Gamescom 2021 Opening Night Live After Show. We just got a ton of exciting new video game news and reveals courtesy of Geoff Keighley's big Gamescom Opening Night Live showcase. And we've got lots of stuff to discuss, including Halo Infinite, Marvel's Midnight Suns, and Far Cry 6. Here to help me break it all down are my amazing and knowledgeable co-hosts, Tina Amini and Paris Lilly. Hello, friends.
Hi, Damon.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Thank you for joining us. That was a really fun show.
Yeah.
Lots of video games that I look forward to playing in the future. So, we finally got an official delay for Horizon Forbidden West. We've suspected this was coming for a while. We'll dive into that just a little bit later. But first, let's talk about a big game that finally got a release date. Halo Infinite. It's actually coming December 8th. Paris, how relieved are you to finally have this set in stone, hopefully?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, finally.
Yeah.
We know the date now. We know it's going to be December 8th, which, you know, a little later than I think a lot of people would have expected, because you'd think they'd want to get it to the 20th anniversary. But now we know when we're going to get the campaign. We know we're going to get the multiplayer, and get ready. If you're a Halo fan, be excited.
Yeah, it's just barely making it out within 2021, but good to know it's finally coming. It was supposed to be a launch title, of course. You played the test, the recent.
Yes, I did. Yeah,
test flight.
test
The
flight.
technical preview.
Yeah, whatever they're calling these days. That was a couple weeks ago. Got to play that over that weekend span. It was a lot of fun. It was mostly with the bots, but then we're able to do for limited time some direct PvP head-to-head in the arena mode, and it was good. I think 343 did a great job of just getting back to the basics of what made Halo great, and that's what that felt like to me. So really looking forward to the next flight when they go to big team battle, things like that. Yeah,
I heard lots of good things about that multiplayer test, but I think it's worth noting that we still have not gotten another look at the campaign, right? Which it's been last year.
And honestly, after the news we got last week about we're not going to get Forge and we're not going to get co-op at launch, I was really hoping this week they would show us campaign, and they didn't. So I don't want to say I'm concerned. I need to see it. I need to see more before we obviously get to December.
Yeah, it's hard to build an impression, you know, especially because so many Halo fans are campaign driven. You know, they're in it for the campaign. They want the co-op experience, but it's hard to tell based on like very minimal looks at what that's going to look like.
Exactly. Everybody wants to see Craig again. We got to see Craig. Where's Craig at, right?
Yeah, it's first-person shooters. For so many of them, the campaign has kind of become either an afterthought, or Battlefield this year isn't even in shipping with one. Call of Duty has done that in the past. So yeah, Halo still has the campaign. Last year when they showed it, people were divided on. A lot of longtime Halo fans thought it looked like just a lot of fun, but then a lot of people thought the visuals maybe didn't look next gen to them, right? So at E3 when Microsoft had their show, I think people, myself included, were sort of expecting them to sort of reintroduce that campaign. They didn't. Now they haven't again. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to finally have that release date. As someone who's probably only going to play the campaign, though, man, I do want to sort of see the improvements in the work that they put into it.
Yeah.
They did, however.
I was just gonna say, even today's trailer was kind of story driven in a sense, but it's all about that first season for multiplayer.
Exactly.
So it's driven around this is the Spartan Academy, and apparently that's going to be the hub of the multiplayer experience. So certainly a good thing to get exposure to, because we want to see what that environment is going to look like, and clearly there's a big investment in bolstering that multiplayer experience, just like a lot of other first-person shooters, to your point, Damon.
Now, they did show off a very pretty special edition console,
the
Xbox Series X, that comes with the controller. Man, that is a good-looking console.
Oh yeah, I am that cat meme. I need this.
Yes. Yeah. And I think pre-orders actually went live.
Yeah.
At this point, they may be sold out already. But yeah, the Elite controller they showed off, the Series 2 Elite, and then obviously the new console for the Series X, the custom. I mean, for the 20th anniversary, it looked great. Really
it was gorgeous. Yeah,
I definitely want to get it for sure.
Yeah, it's apparently got like gold accents, like iridium gold accents, the actual metal in it. It can do the power-up sound on and off, has like custom Halo sounds as well, and it's got that gorgeous like starry, I believe it's from like the Zeta Halo is what they had said on the Xbox Wire.
Yeah, it leaves us now in sort of an interesting situation, since Horizon has been delayed. Xbox has a big holiday exclusive and PlayStation does not.
Yeah, it seems that way
right now, right?
Yeah.
It's just, and they also are going to have this. They also are the only next-gen console that has a special edition version as well. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting times. Okay, another big reveal. Saints Row. This is something we were expecting to get revealed during the show. Saints Row is being rebooted, and it got a release date, and we don't have to wait very long. Just Saints Row is being released February 5th, 2022. That is so soon. Not a sequel. The last one was actually a spin-off. They went to Saints Row 4, then there was a Gat Out of Hell expansion, then there was the, what was this real spin-off one called?
Oh, the Blood Dragon?
Agents of Mayhem is what it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Fact checkers are doing it. I loved, especially Saints Row 3. That's like the one that got us so excited.
Yeah.
Either of you played
yeah.
Saints Row?
Oh yeah, huge Saints Row fan. So the fact that they're bringing this back and kind of doing it like a remake, and I'm actually shocked we're getting it so soon. I did not think it was coming this soon. But
always a happy surprise.
Yeah. And the limited amount of gameplay they showed, it looked good. It really did. I mean, I definitely would want to jump in that sandbox and play it.
And doesn't even seem too into, because, you know, as a reboot, you kind of expect, okay, maybe we're going back to more of like a grittier route than the kind of wild experience that Saints Row has come to. But, you know, there's still a lot of color in the game, too. And some of the weaponry, and it seems like customization is still going to be a big thing. Like there's a spinning sword weapon at some point in the trailer. I couldn't quite make out what it was, but it looked real cool. So it still has that, you know, renewed Saints Row vibe to it, too. So it seems to strike both of that balance.
Yeah, we have a brand new city. It's set in the American Southwest, I believe. Volition, the developer, says it's the biggest city that they've ever created. So the biggest sandbox, the biggest playground. They have overhauled their character creator. They said it's the most extensive character creator they've ever had. That's obviously a big part of Saints Row. And I believe we have a new crew. I don't think there are any characters that from the previous games that we should expect to see. So I don't know. I'm interested to see, because Saints Row started out as just a pretty typical GTA clone, and then it really sort of came into its own and became unique with Saints Row the Third. So now, what does a reboot look like? You know, and I guess you know what would you want it to be rebooted into? Because GTA always has silly parts, but they mix that really well with seriousness, and Saints Row just went all the way into the silly.
Yeah, I mean, I came into the Saints Row universe when it was all the way into the silly. Like, I would say, like, Saints Row the Third was really beginning to kind of, like, have that as part of its atmosphere. So I like that element, and I think you get elements of it, you know, with these crazy car trick moves. I mean, obviously, this is a CG trailer, so who knows how that's actually going to unfold in gameplay, but if it's matching that kind of vibe, it seems like there'll be this real threat of you're in a, you know, really threatening city. I actually got some cyberpunk vibes from it, just from the fact that there are various gangs that you have to take down. It's a bit cyberpunk and No More Heroes, I might say, since you have to kind of go along the line and knock out all of the gangs to be the #1 gang. So that's pretty silly to me.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we've got to take a very quick break, but coming up next, we're checking out Sega's upcoming action game, Lost Judgment. After that, we'll take a look at 2K's new Marvel game, Midnight Suns, and then we're taking to the skies with the badass new Dragon game, Century Age of Ashes, plus plenty more Opening Night Live to discuss with my wonderful panel here. We'll be back with more IGN and Gamescom right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by Pluto TV, free to watch.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game, but what if you got a chance to peek into the mind of the developers behind those games as they watch their hard work get completely destroyed right in front of them?
What is happening right now?
That's exactly what happens on every episode of Devs React to Speedruns. We invite you to ride along with the developers as they watch, react, and enjoy some of the craziest gameplay by the most skilled speedrunners on the planet. Tune in every Saturday for a brand new episode.
From the creators of Plant Turismo, League of Legends, and Minecraft. Released in 2020, Expansion Pack 2021, launch soon. Gamescom Forest. Not a game, but a game-changing project. Thousands of trees were donated by the best community in the world because we need oxygen even more than a good Wi-Fi signal. Save a bee, plant a tree. Let's grow the Gamescom forest.
From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, Let's Plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered.
If that's okay, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right. And then that should fill the segment, right? That should be fine.
That should be more than enough.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right.
We got a lot of.
Yeah, we did not confirm the horizon. So I'm glad we got that sorted out. Thank you, Mark.
Let's go to a break. Let's go to a break real fast.
You good? Thank you.
Can we go to a break? Are we playing it correctly? Hold on.
Will I have to do it again?
Can we have quiet on set, please? Can you kill the mic in studio?
You're not hearing any of the playback audio? Is that their side?
Do I need to send some playback audio?
Oh, it's on them.
Should we run to a break real quick?
No, that's on them. Let's give them a second to figure it out.
Leave this be.
The court is prepared to issue its verdict. The sentence for the defendant, Akihiro Ihara, is 6 months of penal servitude.
Your Honor, in a warehouse, about 3 days ago, a body turned up in Yokohama. Oh, maybe you hadn't heard that.
What?
I'll take that as a no. In that case, make sure you pass this along to the Kanagawa police. They'll want to know that the body belongs to a guy named Hiro Mikoshiba. 4 years ago, this man took my son from me by driving him to commit suicide. He deserved to die 1,000 times, but he was never even accused of a crime. No, he just went on with his life. The law let him walk. An utterly broken system.
You mean it's revenge? In that case, could he possibly have hired someone else to kill the guy in his stead?
Right. But there's more to it. A few days ago, someone lit flares at the location of Mikoshiba's body. As for my request, I'd like to see what you can find out. Mikoshiba's murder is too suspicious.
Hey, are you filming this? Put that camera away!
You know what I'm convicted for. It was being a pervert. I admit to everything. There's no way I'm fighting for an appeal. So as for my defense, I'm in no need of lawyers anymore.
Ihara-san, just a second.
Hiro Mikoshiba died in a lot of pain. His final moments were truly horrific. The last thing he felt must have been fear. After slitting his throat, his body was left to rot.
Doesn't that sound great?
Check outside.
You saying Mikoshiba had more than one killer? And where are they now? You think these lunatics are still hanging around Ijincho?
That I need to stay away from this. The whole Mikoshiba-kun case. Then she told me I should give you this picture.
Huh? This is Mikoshiba.
It's the murder footage.
Mikoshiba's murder ended up on the internet. It's going viral on all the social media sites.
Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it!
No way.
Oh, God.
Back when I was a student in high school, I witnessed bullying firsthand. And still, I just let history repeat itself.
Sugiura!
Masked men attacked us. I couldn't fight them.
Were they any different from what the Liumang wear?
If they want me, then come after me.
The fewer people who know a secret, the better kept the secret stays. When I dirty my hands, it's in the service of order. Now, no playing dumb and none of your tricks. Don't underestimate me, Yagami-san.
Believe me, I'm just as clueless as you are, much as I hate to admit it.
What the hell do you think you're doing? This has nothing to do with her.
It's time to let it go, Yagami. Kuwana is clearly a target of someone higher up.
Yagami-sensei, would you mind if we talked alone?
Why, though? Something we can't hear?
The more you know, the more you risk. You'd be endangering your own lives.
All of you. You're all so incompetent. You see yourselves as these paragons of law and justice, yet the truth slips right through your fingers.
We'll need to do things one step at a time, Gato-san. That'll be on me. I'll reveal a truth no one can deny. Stop! Kuwana! Everything you do feels justified. That's why you're able to look past the sacrifice and the damage you cause. That won't work. She can't say her piece without a voice. So if I don't raise mine for her, what justice prevails?
We just saw an exclusive extended look at Lost Judgment, and here to discuss that and so much more is IGN's Kat Bailey, and joining us from Webedia in Germany, Michael Obermeyer. Welcome, you guys.
Hello.
It's Gamescom.
Hey,
oh my
Gamescom.
God.
Hi. We're on the case.
Yes, I'm so happy. So, Kat, that was the latest Lost Judgment trailer. What are your initial thoughts seeing that footage?
You know, Judgment was a really good game, and I feel like it was kind of underrated because it wasn't a mainline Yakuza game. It's a spin-off. But Lost Judgment takes that and expands the concept a lot. It's expanding the battle system, which is looking really, really good. It's no longer turn-based. And also it's going to be expanding the side cases, and it's going to have Master System games because, of course.
Oh, yeah. So I'm very curious. I know we've talked and you really like turn-based systems. Are you okay with this returning to an action combat-based system?
Not gonna lie, my heart's a little broken, but I'm okay with going to action because I think Sega's done a really good job of splitting the difference between the two and kind of giving people like me who like turn-based games what they want. And Stella, do you like action games? Is that what you want?
I do, I really do. It holds a special place in my heart.
So everybody's happy, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, Michael, what side are you on, turn-based or action?
I'm a little torn, I must admit. I was really positively surprised when the Yakuza games turned to this turn-based fighting style. But looking back, I think I like the action fighting style better in the previous games. Let's see how this turns out.
Okay, so that's 2 versus 1. So, not that it's a contest. Sorry, no.
Oh,
no, okay.
I thought it was. Okay.
Anyway, moving on. So, we finally got a firm release date for Horizon Forbidden West, and it's coming February 18th, 2022. So, Michael, are you excited for Forbidden West?
Of course. I got the Platinum Trophy on the first Horizon. I actually live in the Netherlands, so Guerrilla is a team that's really close to my heart. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I mean, we kind of saw the writing was on the wall that this wasn't going to make a 2021 release. Now we have the confirmation that it's coming early 2022. Yeah,
I feel like the fact that it's releasing so early in 2022 it's fine, right? I can wait that. I really want to be able to play this. Kat, how do you feel about this being announced for February?
I think that's pretty rough for Sony because it means that really the biggest exclusive that is coming out for the PS5 is going to be Death Stranding Director's Cut, which, don't get me wrong, is a really big improvement on the original release. Yes. But it is also a PS4 game first. So, I mean, there will be plenty of good games on PS5, don't get me wrong. But then, looking ahead to January and February, there are so many good games coming out. There's, on Nintendo Switch, there's Pokemon Legend of Arceus, and then and then we have Elden Ring as well. So we're going to have so many games to be playing. It's going to be a logjam for sure.
I can't wait. Yeah, and in the meantime, while you're waiting, Horizon Zero Dawn is going to get just got a 60 FPS PlayStation 5 patch, which is great because I actually didn't have a PlayStation 4 until end of cycle, so I wasn't able to play. So for me, now I can go back and play this in 60 frames per second. So. Oh, really? You could go back and play it again. I mean, I know you got your platinum, but I mean...
Play it again.
Yeah. Well, okay, so if you want an Aloy fix then, she's coming to Genshin Impact September 1st, and I think you unlock her for free on the PlayStation.
I think she looks... I love the new character design. It's very cute.
So cute.
Right?
Michael, do you have any interest in playing her in Genshin?
I don't know. I mean, I really like Horizon, but Genshin's totally not my cup of tea, but I guess there's a
But look at how cute she looks, though.
Yeah. Anime Aloy.
Really
yeah. I love it. It makes me want an anime version of Horizon.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. Cool. Great spin-off.
Right? Absolutely. Get more lore. Who doesn't love game lore?
I mean, it's already almost an anime as it is, so we're getting pretty close.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really, really cool.
Giant robot dinosaurs, hello.
Yes. What if you could have one? Yeah, yes. So many ideas, so many ideas. We will have to pitch this to someone that we know at shows. And we also got a first look at a brand new Marvel game. It's called Marvel's Midnight Suns, and it's releasing in March 2022, speaking of early game releases. So, Kat, Michael, what do you guys think of the reveal?
I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. So I actually did a preview of it, a very brief one. I got to talk to Jake Solomon, who is the creative director, about Marvel's Midnight Suns. And I'm a big XCOM fan myself. I played a lot. Great tactics series. But what's really interesting about Marvel's Midnight Suns is that it really flips the script in so many ways because the superheroes in this case, they're powerful. They're a power fantasy. Yeah. Whereas in XCOM, it's a survival horror game where you're playing as soldiers. So that is necessarily going to make the game very different. And Firaxis, to their credit, is very aware of this. So I can't wait to see the gameplay when it debuts on IGN September 1st.
And Michael, how do you feel about Midnight Suns?
This is totally the right genre for Marvel heroes. I mean, there can't be enough turn-based games out in the world. But I'm really interested how they're going to implement this hero mechanic with the gameplay mechanics, because I heard that there's no permadeath in this, Cat. Can you confirm this? Is this right?
Yep, no permadeath. I mean, you can't kill off Wolverine. Come on.
No, absolutely not.
He's invincible.
So, Michael, real quick, I know that you were interested in Dream Cycle. Can you tell us why?
Yeah, it's the big surprise for me of Opening Night Live, a new game from the original Tomb Raider creator, Toby Gard. You play as a magician's apprentice who's traveling to a magical land to get her powers back, and I think the magician is actually her uncle, and it totally reminded me of the way Dark Messiah of Might and Magic looks, combined with a shooter. So really interesting aesthetics, and the gameplay also looked interesting. I really want to know more about this.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought it up. So I actually looked deeper into it, and I'm very curious to check it out too. But that is all the time that we have right now to discuss what we've seen, but there's still plenty more Gamescom still to come. 2 whole days worth, in fact, and today isn't even over. And you know what? While I've got your attention, the Epic Games Store is also celebrating Gamescom this week. You can find a dedicated hub for tons of games featured during Gamescom 2021, and you'll be able to wishlist your favorite titles to receive updates as they get closer to launch. You can find all of this at epicgames.com/store/events/Gamescom. Or if that's way too much to type, just open the store and follow the messaging. In just a moment, we've got an all-new look at the latest from 2K Games' Midnight Suns, but first, a quick break. So stick around because we'll be right back.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by USAA Insurance.
From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
What's up everyone, Sydney here to bring you a little update about the future of IGN on YouTube. We've been listening to your feedback and it seems like some of you are more into games while others are more interested in movies and TV. So we got to thinking about it and decided, why not both? Our main channel will still bring you all the biggest news, reviews, previews, and trailers to keep you up to speed on the most important highlights. But if you only want games content 24/7, head over to IGN Games. Movies and TV more your thing? Check out IGN Movies and TV. More channels, more of the stuff you love, more IGN.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by Pluto TV, free to watch.
Welcome back to IGN's Opening Night Live After show, helping get you primed for everything Gamescom has in store. Festivities have only just begun, and Opening Night Live already hit us with tons of new games and even a few surprises that totally caught us off guard in the best way possible. So let's talk about the biggest of them, starting with... maybe not quite the biggest, but pretty big. I'm very excited for Far Cry 6. We've seen quite a bit of it, and we just got another trailer. Are you guys just ready to play the game at this point? Because this game was supposed to be out in February.
Right, yeah, I'm ready for it. I mean, the fact that it's coming in October, I think they have a very unique opportunity here having Giancarlo Esposito as Castillo, the dictator, because even looking at that trailer that we saw, I think there's the possibility of a great story where Far Cry traditionally has been about getting in that sandbox and all the crazy weapons and everything. Because obviously he's not a good person, but you can see he's trying to do good things being a bad person. So what's the conflict there? So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I do think that central story being so rooted around this villainous character is so important to have it be Giancarlo Esposito because he's so incredibly talented. He really sells every single trailer he shows up in. And I think you're right. Like, you know, there is that overarching kind of Thanos level conflict of like for the greater good, you know, the great debate of is what you're doing for the grander good, you know, justifying the means essentially. But there's also that other microcosm of a conflict around him and his son. And I really like that father-son dynamic where it's kind of challenging. Like you can see that Giancarlo's character is trying to get his son to reckon with inevitably what's going to be potentially his future and taking up that dictator mantle, you know, like there's just so much responsibility there. So I'm curious to see how that might unfold. And I think like the characters, every trailer has really been focused on the characters. So I think that it could really make for an interesting story, as you say.
Absolutely. And then we get all the crazy weapons and everything too.
Yeah, that too. All the homebrew stuff. Yeah.
And then they also said that this will be the biggest Far Cry world, so to speak. I think I'm saying that right. That they've had so far in the history of the series. So I'm looking to that, the exploration, discovery, just everything that you get in a Far Cry game.
Yeah. The previous worlds haven't exactly been small, so that's saying something.
Says quite a bit. Yeah.
And in the story trailer that we got today, I think this is the first time I realized that what he's doing, Castillo's doing on this island, is growing like a cancer medicine, growing but using slave labor apparently to harvest that. So that's kind of an interesting premise, an interesting setup. But yeah, like I Far Cry 6 had me at Far Cry 6 announced. Okay, I'm on board. But then that was like a year ago now. So yeah, I definitely feel ready to play this game. Very much looking forward to October. Just give this game to me, because Far Cry, the mechanic is like what I like to do in video games: explore an open world and clear outposts.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just made for me. Okay, a game we've been waiting a really long time for. It was announced a long time ago. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Are you guys into the Lego games?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
My kids and I will be all over this, so really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I particularly like the Lego Star Wars games. Tina, have you played previous ones?
Yeah, I've played previous Lego games, and I really like there's a sense of charm in the Star Wars universe. Like, it's not really the most forthcoming part of it, but there's definitely a level of that kind of comedic relief in moments where obviously Lego games have a lot of that as well. So I think it's the perfect fit. And they've even done a couple shots from the movies too, like what was it, Rey jumping over Kylo Ren's TIE fighter, for instance. They like replicated that in there. So I think it's gonna be really cool to see it in this both charming visual style, but also, you know, the charming elements of dialogue and you know, missed moments like this one that we're seeing on screen right now.
Yeah, they take some liberties and they have fun. They have fun with Star Wars.
Yeah.
Which I think this is actually a good opportunity to get people to sort of laugh and have fun with some of the sequel movie moments that weren't that popular.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's the best part. That's why I say my kids will be all over this, because we get to have fun in these Lego games. And like you said, there's the comedic elements in that will kind of replicate some of the things that we've obviously seen in the Star Wars movie, but you do it a little differently. Like we even saw it in the trailer with Luke. I am ready, and then he does the lightsaber the wrong way. It's like, that's perfect.
Not quite ready.
Yeah.
But a little surprising is that we still didn't get a release date.
Yeah.
And still, it's definitely not coming this year. They're targeting spring 2022.
Yeah, that's the closest that we can get as far as this release date. But you know, on top of that, just looking at this trailer too, it's incredible how beautiful it looks.
Yes.
Like for a bunch of Lego characters, like the environments that they've managed to replicate to kind of recreate in this Lego style. It's insane, like what they can do with this game.
Absolutely.
They should have just given it a February release date like everyone else.
Yeah, that's the trend.
February 2022 is now looking like just stacked.
Yes, absolutely.
Stacked release calendar. Okay, it's time for a Damie game. I'm the host. I decide when it's Damie game time, and I decide it's right now. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. Definitely up my alley. I cannot wait to play this one. So this is from Tribute, and they did Panzer Paladin last year, which is great. It's one of the best games I played last year, and published by Dotemu, who brought us the excellent Streets of Rage 4 last year. So lots of good brawler pedigree there. I love the pixel art style here. I love the nods to the original arcade game. And in the new trailer, we found out April O'Neil is a playable character.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Holding her own against all four of the turtles. Paris, is this something that is on your radar?
This takes me back to the 90s when I played it in the arcade, and like you said, I love that April is using the microphone.
Yeah.
I can't wait. This is going to be so good to play. Do the co-op with your friends. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that there's this renewed spirit for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in general. I believe there's a new show and movie in production as well. So it's just so cool to see it in like respawn in a new generation, essentially. And I love that April can revive you with a pizza, because obviously pizza is very reviving. So
that's probably the most realistic part of the game.
Exactly.
I feel very revived after having pizza.
Here it is.
Brawlers in general are just sort of having a real renaissance right now. I mentioned Street Fighter 4, Streets of Rage 4. And then there was River City Girls. It's also a really cool pixel art brawler, and River City Girls 2 is coming out pretty soon. So very, very good time for fans of pixel art and old school brawlers. Let's see. This one is also coming out in 2022. So we'll have to wait a little bit longer to play that one. Another game that caught my eye in opening night live was of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb. Yeah.
Cult of the Lamb, not Cult of the Lamp.
No.
Geoff Keighley. That's what it sounded like you said. This game looks really cool. Obviously has a very dark but cute, or cute but dark art style, depending on
your interpretation.
Yeah, on your interpretation. I read up a little bit more on this game, so I have some details. But Tina, I'd love to hear like what your impression was of this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I like cute things with a slight edge. So this is completely up my alley. It kind of reminds me of Battle Block Theater, which I've you know, run your ear off of quite a bit because it's like cute little cats, but you know, they're violent, so there's that element to it. It reminds me of a kind of like Adventure Time vibe as well because it's dark, but it's also relatable in that cute way too. So I really like the style of it, and it seems like it's a lot of fun from what we saw today.
Yeah, apparently these cute animals are being sacrificed by whoever the enemies are, the non-believers. But this lamb is saved by a spirit or a deity, and in return, the deity wants you to bring them more converts, convert the rest of the cute animals. So you have to venture out into different parts of this world, converting more cute animals and then defeating the non-believers or the enemies, and there are several bosses, and the levels are procedurally generated because it is a roguelike, as is legally required from any indie game, especially one from Devolver, I believe. That's
in the last couple of years as well.
Absolutely.
Paris, does this one look?
Yeah, it's truly a don't judge a book by its cover because it's going to lure you in going, oh, this looks cute. And then when you actually start playing, you're, oh, wait, this is pretty dark. So, yeah, I love this. And this is right up Devolver's alley. So, totally looking forward to this.
That one looks like a lot of fun. Tina, any overall thoughts about Opening Night Live? I thought it was a really fun show this year.
Yeah, I mean, stacked show. Like, you know, certainly within the span of roughly 2 hours that we got a lot of different games, like a lot of AAA games, but also a lot of games more on this level, more of the Cult of the Lamb. Or I've seen of that game looks really fun, and it was good to see it have like another debut on Opening Night Live too.
Paris, how about you?
I thought it was great. I mean, Keighley is really starting to turn this into like one of those must-watch events. I thought the reveals that we got here was a great balance of like the big AAA all the way down to the indie games. And like you said, 2022 is stacked. I mean, everything is 2022.
We'll all be busy in 2022.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to name any names, but we've come to a point when Keighley can put together a more entertaining show than some of the other video game publishers sometimes. Anyway, still to come, we're taking a trip down memory lane to revisit some highlights from Gamescom's past, and right after that, we'll be taking a deeper look at 2K's upcoming Marvel's Midnight Suns. But first, a quick break. Your Opening Night Live after show. We'll be right back.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by USAA Insurance.
From the creators of Plan Turismo, League of Legends, and Pinecraft. Released in 2020, Expansion Pack 2021 launch soon. Gamescom Forest. Not a game, but a game-changing project. Thousands of trees were donated by the best community in the world because we need oxygen even more than a good Wi-Fi signal. Save a bee, plant a tree. Let's grow. The Gamescom Forest.
From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, Let's Plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, the best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by Pluto TV, free to watch.
What's my favorite Gamescom memory? Well, I've been going to Gamescom for over a decade and have many fond memories of press conferences and parties and other events at the show. And I remember the first year I went, I was just blown away by the size and scale of the event. But by far my favorite memory is Opening Night Live, launching that in 2019, partnering with Gamescom, doing it at Colne Messe with thousands of fans gathered together and having Hideo Kojima come out. And I remember at the end, all the fans kind of rushing towards the front of the stage because everyone wanted to get a photo or a selfie, just seeing Mr. Kojima there, and then having him debut the footage of Death Stranding with me in it, which was another kind of crazy surprise. So that's by far my favorite memory of Gamescom.
Welcome to Gamescom. How you guys doing?
Welcome back to IGN's Opening Night Live After Show. Earlier tonight, we got a look at a brand new Marvel game called Midnight Suns that combines the strategic turn-based tactics of XCOM with the dark magic chaos of Marvel superheroes. And believe it or not, they fit together pretty perfectly, like the Incredible Hulk and a flimsy pair of jean shorts. Rawr. To find out even more, let's talk to the folks behind Midnight Suns. Excelsior!
Marvel Midnight Suns from the team at Firaxis will have favorites like Wolverine, Blade, Magix, and Captain Marvel fighting back demons of the underworld with some help from Doctor Strange and an all-new original customizable hero, the Hunter. Firaxis director Jake Solomon has joined us today to tell us a few more details about this new tactical RPG. Jake, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you very much for having me. I can't believe I'm actually talking about this game to somebody. So yes, sorry if I'm a little fired up right now.
No, fired up is good. We like fired up. There's probably no bigger property in the world today than Marvel. No pressure. How'd you come to work on such a big universe as the Marvel universe?
I mean, it was. So this is like a dream project for me and a lot of members of the team, but it wasn't something that we had really thought about. It was actually Marvel that approached us because they were fans of XCOM, which is the game we were doing before. And sometimes you hear that, and you don't know whether they, people say, oh yeah, I loved XCOM. But the first call I had with the Marvel team, they had like an executive vice president on the call, and he had very specific feedback for me about like the finale mission of XCOM, and a bunch of people were chiming in. So they were true fans, which was awesome. So we knew that we were going to partner our gameplay expertise with their amazing narrative. So it felt like a match made in heaven.
So the game shares a name with the 90s comic series. Can you speak to the connections between your game and the source material?
Yes, they're deep. So that is my favorite comic book event from when I was reading comic books as a kid. So yeah, the Rise of the Midnight Suns, it's this awesome early 90s, like hair metal style, supernatural event. It's probably the premier supernatural event in the Marvel comics. And it was something I grew up loving. It pulled together all the supernatural characters and had them fight this giant threat, which is Lilith, the mother of demons. And so we took that, like from the very beginning, when we started working with Marvel, we knew that was the story we wanted to tell. We wanted to go to a corner of the Marvel universe where we felt nobody else was at that moment, and it gave us our little space that we could tell our own story. And so yeah, it's a comic that I and my narrative director both loved, and it's amazing. I recommend people check it out.
So you've gotten the chance to create your own original customizable hero, the Hunter. Can you tell us about what was that like creating this character, and what are the Hunter's powers?
So this is one of those rare ideas that actually from the beginning when we were thinking about the design of this game, we always wanted to have a customizable character, something kind of new for the Marvel Universe, because we wanted the player to be able to put themselves into the game. A lot of this game is about not just fighting in combat, but also developing relationships with the heroes of your choice. The way you do that is by being the Hunter. And so this Hunter, they have a narrative connection because in our universe, they are actually the child of Lilith, But you can customize this character to look however you want, and you can customize how they play in combat as well. And that means you can channel light powers, which are a little more support, a little more buff, a little more healing, or you can channel dark powers, which are a lot more destructive, but they incur a cost on the hunter and the allies.
I believe that you'll be making those connections at the Abbey, in between missions. Go out on a mission, come back to the Abbey, chat with your fellow heroes. Can you tell us what players can expect to do in their own mystical base?
Yes, so the Abbey, again, it's an all-new location that we designed with Marvel, and this is where all the Midnight Suns come back after combat, just like you said. And so I think there's like two big fantasies. If you're a fan of Marvel, there's like two powerful fantasies. One is fighting in combat, having that epic, awesome Marvel combat. But the other fantasy is also seeing the heroes hanging out with each other, how they interact with each other. And so that's the other big fantasy we want to fulfill in the Abbey. So yeah, after you come back from missions, you can choose what hero you want to hang out with, and you could say, all right, Ghost Rider and I are going to play video games, or Doctor Strange and I are going to meditate on the cliffs, or Tony Stark and I are going to go lift weights. And so the player has a lot of different activities to choose from, and it's not just hanging out at night. You can join clubs around the Abbey, you can talk to the heroes during the day, and all these things have an impact on your relationships with these heroes and how you sort of form these friendships. And of course, those friendships have huge benefits in combat gameplay as well.
Are there any characters you can become more than friends with, or is this hangout time strictly professional?
I totally get why you're asking that. I think that, in your mind, you can be whatever you want to be, but we're saying that you are just very, very, very close friends.
Whoa, okay. Got it. The heroes that you've revealed so far include some very well-known characters from the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Runaways. Can you share any details on what sort of your versions of these iconic characters are, how they differ or not from the more established portrayals that people might be familiar with?
Yeah, that's important because some of these characters, as you said, Doug, they're really familiar. People know who Wolverine is. People know who Iron Man is, Doctor Strange, and that's okay for people to come into our story with that knowledge. But at the same time, this is an entirely new universe that we've created, and so we've kind of set up our own story. And so Tony Stark is still genius, billionaire inventor, but in our universe, he and Doctor Strange are being forced to work together, kind of this marrying tech to mystical, and they've got this very at odds relationship. But we're also introducing a lot of new characters. So characters that players may not be as familiar with, and that's exciting for us. So characters like Magic, who's an awesome New Mutant and X-Men character. Nico from the Runaways, which you mentioned. The new Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. I don't know if I'm so old that I don't know, do people know who Blade is anymore? Who doesn't know Blade? But maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some people who aren't as familiar with Blade. So for us, it's fun to have the established characters and pull them into this dark side of Marvel. It's fun to see the characters you know and love and put them in this situation where you never see them fighting demons, all these supernatural threats.
If people have forgotten about Blade, they're going to remember when the new Marvel Blade movie comes out. So your characters,
That's right.
You've already revealed some fan favorite characters. Is that roster going to continue to grow? Are you going to reveal more characters as we get closer to launch?
Yeah. We have 12 heroes in addition to the Hunter at launch. So we're going to definitely reveal more of those as we go on.
Got it. Looks like the heroes that we've seen so far are wearing new costumes. They look great. Is there any sort of practical purpose to the costumes that you've designed here?
Yes. So players are going to be able to unlock new costumes for their heroes, all of which unlock their ultimate ability, this legendary ability called their Midnight Suns ability, which for every hero is sort of battlefield changing. They unlock passives through that as well, but all of those things are fueled again by your relationship with those heroes. So if you want them to develop, the strongest version of that character is one that the Hunter develops relationships with.
So since we're going to be dealing with more mystical elements, supernatural elements, how does someone like Wolverine compete against an enemy like that?
Well, yes, that's exactly it. And that's what's kind of fun, is saying exactly like Wolverine or Iron Man or Captain America, what is it like when they have to fight demons? And so that's where they're kind of on their back foot when they meet this other team that is used to the supernatural, the original Midnight Suns. And so the idea is that the hunter is there to kind of pull everybody together. Our hunter is a legendary demon hunter in the Marvel Universe. And so it's up to the player to sort of lift everybody up and teach them how to face these supernatural threats.
Well, I'm very excited. I love your work on XCOM. I love the Marvel Universe. It seems like this is going to be chocolate and peanut butter together. Marvel Midnight Suns will be out in March 2022 across PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Thank you so much to Firaxis for joining us today. We can't wait to see more.
You just saw Midnight Suns from 2K and Marvel, but we're only just getting started. We've got many more deep dives into some of the biggest games featured in Opening Night Live coming up in just a bit. First, though, we need to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by USAA Insurance.
Breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered.
Competition brings out the best in all of us. Well, mostly.
Oh, that's a controller break.
That's unfortunate. Welcome to IGN Compete, where we bring you the stories behind the esports headlines.
Reigning world champions!
From the triumphs
Daryl takes the game
to the hardships
It's not happy.
to the miracle moments that will go down in history.
I just can't believe it!
It's crazy. It's all here on IGN Compete.
God, I'm in disbelief!
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
Me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by Pluto TV, free to watch.
Hello, I'm Tim. I'm director of Gamescom at Köln-Messe. My most favorite Gamescom memory. Wow, after 13 years, that's really hard to say. It all started in 2009, and the premiere of Gamescom in 2009 will definitely stay one of my most favorite memories forever. The original Rocket Man landed in front of our entrance north. Brought the key, the doors opened, and a massive crowd of 250,000 people entered Gamescom. That was so amazing for all of us. Of course, in later years we had more visitors, nearly 400,000, but for the premiere we didn't expect. The whole team was absolutely thrilled and of course rewarded for their hard work. But the crowds were not only on the fairgrounds, also in the city center, because the Gamescom City Festival took place and famous bands like the Toten Hosen played concerts. So the whole of Cologne was celebrating the games, and this was exactly our vision for Gamescom. It became true. And we all knew that was the beginning of a very big story. We're ready to continue it. Hope to see you all next year in Cologne. Bye bye.
Welcome back to IGN's Opening Night Live After Show. Do you remember mere hours ago when Bandai Namco revealed Park Beyond? You don't. How is that possible? Are you trapped in some kind of Memento situation? I get it. I forgot what I had for lunch today. And I might never remember that, but I can help you refresh your memory on that new theme park sim because we've got a deep dive on it right now. Let's check it out.
Park Beyond is a game where park simulation meets the impossible. The only thing standing between you and a truly amazing theme park is your imagination. Here to tell us everything we need to know about this brand new park management game is Stefan Winter, CEO of Limbic Entertainment, and Johannes Reitman, Creative Director for Park Beyond. Welcome. Thank you both for joining us today. To start off, can you explain what impossification is? Do the laws of physics no longer apply?
Well, I try to explain a bit the word of impossification. Actually, for us, it feels like a super common word because we're using it for almost 2 years now. We know it's not in any dictionary, but actually, impossification for us means push things beyond boundaries and make the impossible actually possible. And within Park Beyond, we simply had the idea, let's dream really big. Let's be the guy who pushes things beyond nowadays limits, defy a bit reality, defy a bit gravity, and do something truly amazing. And then impossification as a word or as a vision became our big theme for the entire game. And you will meet it in all parts of our gameplay, our visuals. Whatever you do, it has something to do with the impossible.
All right, so I'm going to test it a little bit. So something I've done in the past with theme park simulators is design an incredibly dangerous park on purpose. With the impossification element in Park Beyond, is that even possible?
That's actually very possible, but I think, Johannes, you are the right one to answer with your crazy posters you already created in our builds.
Definitely, I think this is actually, totally down your alley. So, I mean, what we see in the footage already is some of the crazy modules we have in our coaster builder. So you can actually shoot your visitors in carts through the air with a cannon, or you have like high drops you can implement into your coaster, or you can actually make cars seamless or seemingly crash mid-air and do all these crazy things to your visitors. But always, in the end, all your visitors have to be back in their seats and have to be back reaching safely the station. But you will be having a lot of tools actually to express your creativity and create these dangerous and thrilling rides.
How much freedom are we going to have when building something like a roller coaster? Are there preset designs, or can we freely build them any way we like?
This is totally up to you. So it's all of these pieces are totally modular. So you create exactly what you are envisioning. You can build your coaster around the environment. So looping it around bridges, building it around other rides, building it through environment you created, and all these modules, and as many as you like. And so this is all up to you. So there are also, of course, prefabs which support and help you to get going faster in the beginning. But as you get more and more experience with the editor, you have more and more, you're opening up more and more freedom and possibilities for you to build exactly the coaster you always wanted to build yourself, but also, or you always wanted to ride yourself, maybe in real life.
All right, well, how deep can we get? I mean, for example, is the game tailored for people who just want to have fun and build fun rides, or can people who really enjoy the nitty-gritty of systems management enjoy themselves too?
In this kind of games, we actually meet different player types. On the one side, we know we have people who go really all in if it's about creativity. They want to design, they want to express themselves, they want to create something visually impressive, but actually they don't care so much necessarily about the management part. On the other side, you have the super hardcore players who want to define the very last price of the souvenir shop and decide exactly pricing points, the staff salaries, and whatever is part of the deep management in a theme park. Simple said, we have both systems. You can go all in on creativity, or you can fully enjoy the deep management systems, and it's up to you to decide what you want to mainly use. So think about, if you are more the creative person, you let the assistance system take over everything management, financial related. If you are more the management player, hey, then just use the prefabs we built for you and the easy to place rides and coasters. So I'm actually quite confident that we have a cool system for different player types within Park Beyond.
All right. I think I might be the coaster type, but so we've seen the Cannon coaster for one. What's another absolutely impossible ride you guys enjoy?
I think Stefan always has these loved flat rides he constantly wants to talk about. So Stefan, please.
Okay, I can tell my favorite one because what I saw is when the design team came up with crazy ride ideas. Actually, they started fairly small. They took a carousel and impossified it, then they impossified it even more. But throughout the development, some designers went really crazy. And my favorite one is actually a ride where you are shooting your visitors with a slingshot super high in the air. They rotate round in the air, then they fall in some kind of collector piece, whatever it is. They roll in there, go through a tunnel, and drop out again at the entrance. It looks so crazy. It's 100% no way we're going to see this in real life, but this is, I think, is one of the coolest crazy rides I've seen so far in development in Park Beyond.
All right. Well, could you tell me more about the kinds of attractions and rides players can put in their parks? Are they based on specific templates?
So first of all, we basically distinguish two types of rides. So the flat rides, which are mostly pre-built, and you can impossify them. So for example, like the carousel or the Ferris wheel. So these are all these iconic rides. On the other hand side, we have the coasters you build from scratch yourself. And also prefabs, so you can already use a predefined coaster. But these are basically two types of rides we have. And then for all of these rides, they have different benefits for different target audiences in our park. So we have families and teenagers and adults, and they all enjoy different types of rides, so like calm rides or thrilling rides, or like fantasy themed rides, or so on. And it's the player's choice to build, for example, a coaster tailored specifically for one target audience, or he or she takes a ride which actually is already built for him or her and already works with one particular target group.
What you're doing as well in Park Beyond is you can entirely theme your park. It's not only about the rides and the coasters and the Omnicard system, it's as well about the visual themes that have an impact on the visitors. There's a Candyland theme, for instance, we reveal within the trailer. There's another theme, it's going to be the Wild West theme. And all of these themes basically, it's a toolbox for players to express themselves and create something. And we truly think there's tons of content to discover.
I mean, it sounds great. It sounds like I could do a lot with what I want to do, which going back to that, if I wanted to be truly evil and make it cost $10 to use the bathroom, could I do that?
Sure, yeah, sure.
It's just not a good idea, I think.
We should test this actually, what happens. It's not going to work out because if you do this, actually, it's going to raise some disappointment across your visitor groups and you run into some issues. So, but you could.
All right, I'll try to think of some better business practices while you get the game ready. Guys, I really can't wait to see what we can impossify next. Remember, Parks Beyond launches sometime in 2022. Thank you both for stopping by and talking to us about it.
Woo! That was Park Beyond, the exciting new building and management game from Bandai Namco. And personally, I was kind of hoping for a Pac-Man dating simulator, but it turns out that sending Bandai Namco hundreds of drawings of Pac-Man kissing various video game characters for 30 years only gets you a restraining order. I have a lot to process. Let's all take a little break and regroup for some more on the games of Opening Night Live. We'll be right back after this.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by USAA Insurance.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game, but what if you got a chance to peek into the mind of the developers behind those games as they watch their hard work get completely destroyed right in front of them?
What is happening right now?
That's exactly what happens on every episode of Devs React to Speedruns. We invite you to ride along with the developers as they watch, react, and enjoy some of the craziest gameplay by the most skilled speedrunners on the planet. Tune in every Saturday for a brand new episode.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
Me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it. Gamescom 2021 is presented by Pluto TV, free to watch.
Welcome back to IGN's opening Night Live After show. In 2019, Supermassive first kicked off their spooky interactive horror series known as the Dark Pictures Anthology. First, they gave us Man of Medan. Then they hit us with Little Hope. And now they're taking us to the House of Ashes. And you're invited, assuming you're not too scared to visit a House of Ashes. Well, are you? I guess we'll find out right now, because we're sitting down with the team building this terrifying new game. Let's check in with the Dark Pictures Anthology, House of Ashes. If you dare! Ooh.
House of Ashes is the third installment of the Dark Pictures Anthology. This entry features a brand new war-torn setting, all new gameplay, and some super spooky monsters. I'm Kim Horcher, and to help answer all of our burning questions from the brand new trailer is game director Will Doyle. Hey, Will.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm ready for this. It's scary. For those not familiar with the series, the Dark Picture seems to fit in the horror and psychological genre. What type of game should they be expecting?
Sure. Well, the Dark Pictures Anthology is a series of standalone narrative horror games, each of them exploring a different genre of horror. So with House of Ashes, what we're looking at here is what we call exploration horror, or just a type of action horror in a way. So you've seen these movies before. It's about a group of experts that are all put together and sent off to the far corners of the world on some big investigation and cut off from their friends and support. They get into all sorts of trouble. In House of Ashes, you will have it's a group of soldiers set in the 2003 Iraq War, and cut off from support. They end up plunging into the ruins of a Sumerian temple, where they discover some really nasty creatures.
It's cool that we're switching the genre a little bit within the horror main genre, but that's not the only change that's coming to this game. Mainly we're looking at camera alterations. So House of Ashes seems to have more of a free cam with a flashlight that provides light. Why go with this perspective versus what was done in the past?
So really, we found that when we were experimenting with it, actually in Little Hope, there's certain sections where you're given full camera control, Little Hope being the second game of the anthology. we found that it actually creates a very immersive atmosphere. It puts you right there with your character. It allows you to look around as they look around. And in the environment that we were exploring, this sort of underground temple, it really sort of puts you over the shoulder, lets you look around as that character would do. But we also have control of it. We can change the distance at which it's at. So if you enter a large chamber, it can kind of pull back and reveal this huge space. When you go into narrow passageways, it can kind of get in close and get it more intense.
Yeah, I'm already feeling it, if you can't tell. Could you tell us about the 360-degree camera and how that could come into play?
Yeah, so that's. I mean, it's under your control. It's controlled with the right stick, So as you're walking around, you can rotate the camera completely around your character, and with the torch control, when you hit that button, your character will automatically turn around and shine a light wherever it is in the dark that you're looking. So that's for our kind of exploration sections. But the game is really, really cinematic at the same time. So there'll be moments where you go from exploration into sort of cinematic moments where we use traditional movie cameras to tell those parts of our story.
Yeah, it also seems to be a lot less linear than Little Hope. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, so it's what we're looking at with House of Ashes. Well, with every game that we do, we look at different ways in which we can kind of shake up our system. In our games, you always control 5 characters, and all of them can live and all of them can die during the story. So there's a load of branching just based around that. And we try to avoid falling into just a kind of into the same pattern for that. So we always have to look at, if this character can die at the start of the game, what does that mean at the end of the game? So for House of Ashes, yeah, we've taken a different sort of pattern to the other games, and for every game we do, we will always be shaking it up a little bit.
That's cool. I'm gonna try not to kill my least favorite characters, but we'll see. I mean, it could change up. What's interesting that I noticed was the monsters seem to be a much bigger star of the show this time around. So in terms of design and mocap, what was important to get just right about them? And can you talk about the significance of the monsters existing in the real world of the game as opposed to having been hallucinations previously?
Yeah, sure. It's this House of Ashes is a real creature feature. The monsters are very, very important for the story that we wanted to tell. We wanted to create something that is a sort of a completely non-human creature, something that you can't really relate to. It doesn't have a face that you can comprehend, and it doesn't feel sorry for you. It doesn't think like you do. It just wants to kill you. And there are more than one of them. There are an entire sort of nest of them down there. So yeah, when we were looking at the design of it, we worked with lots of different creature designers and with our different mocap teams to create the nastiest beast that we could. But it was also important because we wanted something that was so inhuman, it would bring out the humanity in the characters. The more hostile this creature became and the less you could sympathize with it, the more the characters in the story are pulled together.
I mean, that's interesting as a uniting force. Going back to the gameplay a little bit, this is the first Dark Pictures game to hit PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. So does the game take advantage of the new consoles? Are there any cool controller features maybe?
We don't have controller features, but we do make sure that it looks as best as we can make it on the new consoles. So you'll see more ray tracing, 4K resolution. It really does shine on those new machines. And for the series as a whole, the jump onto next gen opens up a lot of possibilities for us, just in terms of cinematics and lenses that we use. And so yeah, it feels more cinematic. I think it looks and feels more like a sort of high quality movie.
I mean, it's definitely visible in the trailer. But going back to something you mentioned earlier, the monsters are, of course, a huge threat. But a big theme of the game seems to revolve around being stuck in a horrific and impossible situation with people you might not be able to trust. So in your opinion, are the monsters or the difficulties with other humans the bigger antagonist.
Absolutely, yeah. We created a situation where, choosing to base it on a war, that we would have, when they all fall down into this temple, you get characters from both sides of that conflict fall in. And initially, they are at odds with each other. Obviously, they were shooting each other a minute ago, and suddenly they're facing up against something else entirely. So those rivalries hold strong throughout the story and create moments of tension and stress throughout, and some big decisions that you have to make. But also, even on the side of the Americans that drop down in there, there are other stories and tensions between them. So we have the fact that different members in the team are of different ranks, and how are they going to deal with that? That when they're just drop down with a few people, are they going to keep that rank system going, or is that going to go out the window? And there are also some sort of relationship connections between different characters. There's a husband and wife down there, and there's a lot of tension around that as well. So I can't spoil too much there, but yeah, definitely the characters become the big thing, and we explore this theme of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's when everything is up against the wall. Do you side with your enemies or look after yourself?
Right. I mean, it's great to see all these different opportunities for division or unity, and they might change as the story goes on. Something you mentioned, though, was the military characters, or characters that were in the military with a real-life active war going on. So what was it like creating a story focused on them? Did you bring in consultants? And does the military training get incorporated into the gameplay as well as the story?
Yeah, we used consultants to make sure that our language and attitude felt right. So it was important to kind of ground it in that 2003 setting. But interestingly, it was also interesting to shine a light on the Iraqi side as well, and to make sure that we treated that side of the conflict responsibly. And we think that with Salim Othman, who's one of our characters, we've created a really, really cool, well-rounded character. It seems to be that whenever we've tested the game in user testing, he always comes out as a really favourable character. So nobody wants him to die. Unfortunately, the nature of the game is that that's quite hard in places. So.
All right, I'll be making some difficult choices later. Thank you for shining a light on this, Will. Remember, everyone, House of Ashes releases right in time for Halloween on October 22nd for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, and it's definitely one we can't wait to check out. Will, thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll be right back with even more interviews on our Gamescom Opening Night Live after show right here on IGN.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by USAA Insurance.
Not only is IGN the world's biggest media brand for games and entertainment, but we also have a team of some of the world's biggest fans of your favorite franchises. From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered. IGN, the #1 source for all games and entertainment fans worldwide.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
If you're not following IGN on social media, what are you waiting for? We're constantly updating our feeds to bring you the latest news, gameplay, custom original content, the best user-generated videos and art, memes, and a whole lot more. Be part of the conversation throughout the year. Follow IGN on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Snapchat.
What's up, everyone? Sydney here to bring you a little update about the future of IGN on YouTube. We've been listening to your feedback, and it seems like some of you are more into games, while others are more interested in movies and TV. So we got to thinking about it and decided, why not both? Our main channel will still bring you all the biggest news, reviews, previews, and trailers to keep you up to speed on the most important highlights. But if you only want games content 24/7, head over to IGN Games. Movies and TV more your thing? Check out IGN Movies and TV. More channels, more of the stuff you love, more IGN.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by Pluto TV, free to watch.
Welcome back to IGN's Opening Night Live After show. Now, A House of Ashes is fantastic, but if you ever wished for a whole Age of Ashes, then Playing Limited has you covered. Century Age of Ashes is a full-on dragon game where you take on the role of a great Burninator of legend. Let's talk to the devs and get the scoop on a new game mode they've been cooking up. Check it out.
Century Age of Ashes is a free-to-play, competitive multiplayer game where teams of 6 can battle it out in a huge arena for total domination. Oh, and did we mention that everyone is riding on a dragon? Here to tell us more about it is Anton Salikov, a game designer from Playwing. Hello, Anton.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, actually.
Thanks for joining us today. Well, first off, for those who are unfamiliar, what exactly is Century Age of Ashes?
All right, so Century is basically, it's an online multiplayer dragon combat game, which makes for, I guess, a lot of adjectives. More simply, it's like dogfighting meets fantasy. We really strive to have these epic battles with you riding the dragon, which has been, a popular thing in recent media. And so we really wanted to bring that back to video games, not only having, dragons that you fight, but also having dragons that you ride. And we felt like that was something that was, not really seen in recent years, and we tried to bring that back to video games.
Awesome. So when people dive into Century Age of Ashes for the first time, what game modes are expected at launch? I also know there's a new game mode you unveiled, so can you also talk about that?
Yeah, I will. I will, definitely. All right, so the idea was to have the first two modes which were available during the first beta sessions. One was called Carnage. Carnage is, I guess, the simpler one. It's a 6v6 battle in which you have one team battling the other, and the one that wins is the one with the most kills. And we have this interesting twist, which is called the bounty system. And the bounty system is basically when you kill an enemy, you have that goes up. And if someone is good enough to kill you, they will get 1 point to the team. So there's some kind of risk-reward dynamic going on. And as for the Gates of Fire mode, it's a battle for a flag that pops up somewhere inside the map, and when you have the flag, you have to pass through gates that are spread out throughout the environment, and the team with the most gates at the end of the game wins. And so these two modes are quite complementary. One is more like about intense battles, and the other one is more like about tactical team play, because you have to rely on your friends to win in Century.
And there's a new game mode that you guys just revealed. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So after releasing both Carnage and Gates of Fire, we really felt like we could have a game mode that could bring out the best of both worlds. And so this idea with the new mode, which we called Spoils of War, is basically to play on this idea which is fairly popular with dragons, which is the dragon hoarding stuff, hoarding treasures and in lairs. And so we really felt like we could have something really interesting going on with this idea. Spoils of War is like the other modes. It's a 6v6 mode with NPC dragons roaming around the map. You can just attack them, and they are carrying gold. So you can pick up the gold as you attack them. And when you pick up the gold, you have to bring it back to your base. The issue is obviously another team is trying to do just the same. So you might get attacked while carrying the gold. So you might want to have players protecting you. You might want to have players protecting your base, because maybe enemies will try to steal it first, steal some gold from you. And so it's really like a very epic, very fun, very interesting mode that we have going on. And it's still being polished, obviously. It's really sad that I can't show footage of it right now, but we will try to maybe send you more exclusive footage maybe in the following weeks.
And there seems to be a bit of a duality to the gameplay with, I saw in the trailer, warrior
Yeah,
rider?
absolutely. So each class in Century, we really wanted for players to have the opportunity to identify themselves with the characters and the gameplay. And so we currently have 3 classes going on, each with different abilities and different dragons, because we felt like the gameplay had to be reflected to how the good dragons look and how they feel when you play them. And so that comes also with exclusive cosmetics, and each class has its own visual representation and visual stuff going on. So yeah, actually, you play as the rider and the dragon at the same time.
Awesome. So are there like story beats and point of view moments for both, or are they both kind of just together as one force?
So each knight or character has this its own, I guess, relationship with the dragon. One might be more distant, the other one might be more into communicating. Later on, when we fully develop the lore, we have currently scenarists working on the lore, and it's something that we really want to bring to life to Century player is the actual story behind the game.
All right. So can you? We're playing as both, not actually the rider or the dragon. So can you tell us more about the 3 different classes that are launching with the game?
All right. So the first class is called the Phantom. It's more like some kind of sneaky character. The dragon can actually go invisible. That's inside of the story. The second class is called the Wingward. Wingwards are more like protectors, I guess, with dragons that can rush to your side and shield you, and so help the teammate with that. And the third class is called the Marauder, which is more like focused on hunting down targets and that kind of stuff.
Do you have a personal preference?
The Wingward. I like to play the team.
I'm excited about Phantom personally, but when you think about class-based arena-style PvP, games like Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch come to mind, but this game controls differently than what you would expect from that. So can you tell us about more of what players can expect when controlling the dragons?
All right, so what we had in mind when first starting was to look at, obviously, at spaceship sims or dogfighting games, and we really felt like we wanted to have a different twists on the genre. First off, we kind of move some things around. You don't have role control in Century, but we try to bring inside of the genre in a way was to inspire with. Have inspirations coming from racing games and have the camera move around in very fluid and kind of to make you feel the speed of the dragon. That's something that we really wanted to do. So the Century is all about it's all about the camera, it's all about the controls, it's all about speed, and it's all about having this this breath of fresh air when you try to dive first with the dragon. That's a very cool moment when you first play Century.
Awesome. Can you tell us a bit about the arenas we'll be battling in? So I assume the goal here was to build these to accommodate these massive dragons, while also, what are some of the different ways you can customize your character in game beyond class?
All right, so first I'm going to speak about the arenas, obviously. We currently have like 2 arenas, and so the first arena is like set on a lake, it's very icy, and the other one is in a desert. So we really wanted to have these different, fantasy setting in different climates and different stuff going on with each site the first time we play it. And so as for the customization, we have rider armor, we have rider weapons, we have dragon armor, and we have dragons, simply dragons, dragon, we might call it skins, but we prefer the word dragons. So we have dragons with the same patterns and stuff and colors, and we have like more legendary dragons which have their morphology changed a bit, so they are better, they're just beautiful.
That's cool. So do the environments change at all, or are they pretty consistent?
Actually, we have different moods, different times of day and stuff, but we don't change really the climate of the game. Though we might want to do that in events or something when we're live. Actually, that's something that we really feel like we could do.
Cool. One thing I wanted to ask about in particular, can you talk more about baby dragons? How will they be used besides as the objects of our affections, obviously?
Yeah, all right. So baby dragons, that's a whole subject here. So when we first released the first 2 betas, we had a lot of feedback about wanting to have more, personal in a way interaction with the dragons. Feeding it, petting it. It's like that meme that we had going on in the video game world with the pet the dog feature. Can I pet the dog in this game? That's the same with dragons. Basically, we had really expectations around this idea. So the idea with dragon babies is that you have this egg that you purchase or you drop, and so you can see it grow, see it spawn a baby, and see the baby grow into a full adult that you can then equip as your own dragon. So yeah, dragon babies, very cool feature.
I like that a lot. I will probably get attached to those in particular, I think. So you mentioned earlier that this came back from some feedback that you received, and there was a very long beta process. What were some of the things you learned in that second closed beta that you actually took to the release version?
Yeah, so following the second beta, we really felt like we wanted to have some time to refine, polish the game, address some of the feedback that we have, and indeed, it's really important to us, the community, and having this support, both the support and the feedback was really important to us. And so we really tried to refine the game in, I guess, 2 axes, which the first one is, contents. As I mentioned, there's the first game mode, and we are working obviously on new classes that I can't talk too much about right now. And also, the feedback, which was more something that we anticipated, but not in the form we felt was important enough for players. So like baby dragons, for instance, were in this category.
Okay, so you've definitely sold me on the game, but could you tell me about the Founders Pack and how the audience can get in on the ground floor right now, including the gift they can give to a friend?
Yes, absolutely. So we really wanted players to have access to more dragon content released. So we actually released these Founders Packs last week, but they are available today. There are 3 tiers, and you can actually gift one to your friends if you wish. If you feel generous or just want to support the game, you can actually hop on with a friend and have this Founders Pack gifted to them. So it's really cool.
That is awesome. That's an easy way to have fun. Remember, everyone, Century Age of Ashes releases on November 18th for PC, and we can't wait to try it out for ourselves. Anton, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Time for another quick break, and for me to finally hit up the bathroom. I've been here since the countdown started. But you stick around for more of our opening Night Live After show. There's plenty more fun to be had. Hope you'll join us. We'll be right back after this.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by USAA Insurance.
Everybody loves watching a speedrun of their favorite game, but what if you got a chance to peek into the mind of the developers behind those games as they watch their hard work get completely destroyed right in front of them?
What is happening right now?
That's exactly what happens on every episode of Devs React to Speedruns. We invite you to ride along with the developers as they watch, react, and enjoy some of the craziest gameplay by the most skilled speedrunners on the planet. Tune in every Saturday for a brand new episode.
From the creators of Plant Turismo, League of Legends, and Minecraft. Released in 2020, Expansion Pack 2021, launch soon. Gamescom Forest. Not a game, but a game-changing project. Thousands of trees were donated by the best community in the world because we need oxygen even more than a good Wi-Fi signal. Save a bee, plant a tree. Let's grow. the Gamescom forest.
From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, Let's Plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered.
Back to IGN's Opening Night Live After Show. Remember, you can catch anything you missed over at now.gamescom.global, or even help the community quest for real-life prizes and keep gaming from being plunged back into the dark ages at now.gamescom.global/epics with an X. And if you want to stay on top of what's to come, check out a full Gamescom schedule at IGN. Opening Night Live After Show is happening right now. I'm Stella Chung, joined by IGN's Michael Swaim and Kat Bailey.
Howdy.
Hello.
Us?
Oh, thank you for being here. I feel so honored. So let's check in with what you fine folks at home had to say about Opening Night Live. User at WoldBlockG is excited for the Horizon Zero Dawn patch. He says, "Thank you, Gorilla. The 60 FPS patch is very good. Winky face. I love that it's free for all PS5 users. Thanks to the patch, I now have a great opportunity to relive the game before the sequel comes out in February. Gorilla, you are at the top." So, have you guys played Horizon Zero Dawn before?
Oh yeah. You know, played through it the first time, back when it was period appropriate, and I'm definitely, the 60 FPS patch pulled me in. I'm playing through it again, and I'll say it's a really interesting experience because even though that game is beautiful, innovative, replaying it, I will say the thing that I am reminded of is the feeling of playing it and being so excited for the second one. Even when I was just playing the first one for the first time, I was like, this feels like a freshman album where you know that they're gonna just knock the next one out of the park. So replaying it again, even the stuff that's rough around the edges, it just makes me more excited for Forbidden West. It really does.
Did you play it when the second one was announced? Like, is that when you started playing, or?
Oh, when I started my replay?
Oh, you're talking about the replay. Okay, I thought your first playthrough, you're like,
you know what,
they're gonna have a
60
sequel.
FPS.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just whetting my appetite for more.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How about you, Kat?
It's just reminding me of what an amazing time 2017 was for games, because that was the same time that Breath of the Wild came out.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and PlayStation was, I feel like this was the moment when PlayStation really cemented itself as just an amazing place for first-party games. People loved Horizon Zero Dawn because it took the kind of open world adventure that was codified by Ubisoft and really just took it to another level with robot dinosaurs.
Completely different combat.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Speaking of taking it to another level, let's talk about a game that does that all the time. There's a lot of buzz around Saints Row. At Blonde Nerd says the Saints Row games have always scratched a specific itch, and I'm incredibly excited to see it back. I always have a good time and many laughs when playing those games. So, have you guys played any Saints Row games before? You guys know just how ridiculous it can get.
I didn't even think that this was a Saints Row game. When I initially saw it, it looked just totally different.
Yeah.
And actually, that's for the good, because I thought that Saints Row was looking a little long in the tooth. It kind of needed a refresh, and it looks like we're getting it.
Well, if you want the opposite opinion, we've got both here. I'm really worried about how grounded and realistic it looks. For my money, Saints Row really hit its stride in 3 when you're leaping 30 meters into a windshield. Like, if you can't press a button.
They had a rocket launcher.
Yeah,
Was it that grounded?
But I'm talking about.
It's not like, GTA 4 here. Come on.
There was one of them where you started as the president of Earth. And
Yes, I love that one.
in the 4th one, you were in hell. So honestly.
Okay, by comparison, quite grounded.
Yes.
I'm worried that it's a little too grounded. So, you know, gamers of good conscience can disagree. It's okay.
It's kind of got this like apocalyptic, dystopian future sort of feel to it, and it's kind of scratching that cyberpunk itch for me, honestly.
It's got the faction
A
thing
little bit,
going on
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not quite the same, but I'm kind of excited. I played the one where you were the president, and I loved it. Absolutely, it was ridiculous, but I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, it worked, though, the story.
I think the thing is that GTA 5 has gone actually pretty crazy with GTA Online and has gotten away from the story elements.
Yes.
So maybe Saints Row, which has always defined itself in opposition to GTA, is seeing an opportunity to be like, okay, let's fill the gap. Because that's what Saints Row does, fill the gap that is left by GTA.
Exactly, yeah. And it'll be interesting to see exactly what the loop is, what the mechanics are, and what their vision is for filling that gap. But that's a good way to put it.
Well, okay. Well, let's talk about a game that I know that you guys both really like. Also, user at Caramel Kiz, I think. I was very excited for that too. Was saying about the TMNT game. I was hoping April would be playable. Hope Splinter is too. Also long shots, but maybe Casey and Usagi. I'd like Karai, but since she wasn't in the original show, I guess there's no design to work off of. So how do you guys feel about the TMNT game?
Well, full disclosure, we had to look up who Karai is. Even though we are big fans of the cartoon. I was hoping for some not as deep cuts like Rocksteady and Bebop, but I gotta say, I love the way they're treating April. That she whips people with a camera on a C-stand. She drops the mic and it explodes.
Dropping the mic is amazing.
The moveset is just really cool. Yeah.
Also, her character design looks so cool. Like she just looks buff, and I'm like, you know what? That's now my new body goal. I want.
Oh yeah,
I want
and you're a lifter, so this is new goals for you. Yeah, look like April O'Neil.
And I can eat pizza? Are you kidding me? Yeah,
Don't believe everything you see in a video game about mutated turtles,
Wait,
Stella.
You mean video games lie to me?
Oh yeah, you eat that much pizza and you'll look like that. That's how it works, sure.
Okay, well, I have a lot to process, but another thing that we had to process is one of the biggest reveals we had today, which was that we finally got a firm release date for Halo Infinite. And we got user at TyTy104 that says, the trailer was really good, reminds me of old school classic Halo cinematics from Reach and 3. And we've got another user, Alf564. Maybe no one will read this, but I've played Halo since I was little because of a cousin that's older than me. He passed away some years ago, but this game brings back the good memories. Thanks so much.
Halo brings back a lot of nostalgia in people, especially that story.
Yeah.
And, well, what perfect time, because it's celebrating its anniversary, 20 years. Can you believe it?
It's perfect timing.
And I don't think they're wrong to lean into the nostalgia. Infinite does feel like an intentional return to their roots, and they're like not trying to chart a new direction so much as they are saying like, let's bring back the party. So Alf, I hope they will for you, because that's awesome.
I think that statement also, I'm so glad that they tweeted that and we were able to see it because it just shows you that, gaming has a bigger reach than you think. Like you look at this and you're like, oh yeah, that's a Halo game. But to a lot of people, they grew up with this. They are very familiar with a lot of these characters, and they established this connection with gaming. And actually, out of curiosity, what is a game that you would say has that sort of emotional impact for you?
Well, Halo 2 did definitely have a moment, because this was in the day where you had to get your friends to bring their physical Xboxes and you'd yell at each other down the hall, I got you! And so Halo Infinite is hitting all the right notes for me to go back to that magical time of Halo 2, which I think a lot of people agree was the sweet spot for the multiplayer.
See, I was in college, so that was the perfect time to be playing Halo, because dorms and everything.
Oh, right, yeah.
But I was more of a Smash Brothers Melee kid, so.
Yeah, you told me about the Smash Brothers arcade box. That
oh yeah, great. Custom arcade.
Smash Brothers also brings people together.
That is true. Yeah. Well, maybe when Halo Infinite launches and we get the co-op campaign, we can all play together. That'd be really nice. Well, that was so much fun. We love to see your reactions, so keep them coming throughout Gamescom 2021. Don't forget to check out the full Gamescom schedule over at IGN.com. Catch up with anything you may have missed at now.gamescom.global or at /epics with an X and turn your Gamescom experience into a game in its own right. Gamescom is powered by gamers, so jump in and let's get going. That's it for us here, but Damon and company will have some final thoughts, so take it away.
Thanks, Stella. One of the biggest titles showcased on Opening Night Live today was Call of Duty Vanguard, which comes at a difficult time for the studio as they're grappling with workplace challenges and accusations. A new extended gameplay segment was shown off today. What were our overall impressions? Paris, let's start with you.
It's interesting. Call of Duty is obviously an annual title that we get every year, and we've gone back to World War II.
Yeah. Again?
Yes, again. And as I watch this, look, it looks great. Mm-hmm. They always do. I would really, really, really love if Call of Duty could start to lean more into the whole zombies aspect that they've been doing with some of the gameplay. I even think about games like Resistance, Fall of Man, or the Wolfenstein series where they do these alternate takes on World War II. It's like, if we got to be there, let's do something really unique out of the box to kind of change it up. And I worry this is going to be more of the same. That's what I took from this.
Interesting. Tina, how about you?
Well, you know, to the zombies' point, they did say that they're going to be weaving in some of the storylines, and so there's going to be some like dual studio effort there. So that'll be interesting to see. But I'm with you. You know, a lot of it doesn't seem so unfamiliar from a Call of Duty game. Though I am glad to see that because the story is broken up into 4 different effective players, characters that you play through. So I was glad to see that they chose Petrova, the sniper, because you get this kind of like hybrid stealth that comes with being a sniper, but she still has a shotgun and she can barrel through, some of the destructible environments. I just like the pace of the trailer in that sense. It just felt very intentional as they went through and then escalate into some of more of the action as she's like parkouring and diving into dilapidated buildings and whatnot.
Yeah, I feel like the climbing is something we don't see that often in Call of Duty games. I liked this gameplay demo, and it's been a really long time since I've played a Call of Duty campaign, but this one actually kind of piqued my interest. It seems like maybe this will be the first time I think World at War maybe was the last Call of Duty campaign that I played. I liked that it starts out in ruins, you don't really know what's going on, play through the whole game, and then I liked 1 hour earlier when there's a flashback at the end. That was just like a really kind of a cool little touch.
And going back to my previous point, I hope that's what they really lean into. Do some things in a Call of Duty game that we haven't seen previously, where it's not just a repeat of that. So good start to it. I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess I should say.
Yeah. Tina, what was the last Call of Duty game you spent some time with?
I think it may have been a few years back with Black Ops. I've kind of been on a hiatus because of the sameness, the sameness from a few of them. But I definitely get a bit of honestly, kind of the same thing that Battlefield did when they went, back to World War I and did that kind of like vignette style approach to singular people's stories and how that's kind of contributed to the overarching war. And well, in this case, it's historic fiction, I guess, is the oxymoron that makes sense for this game because it's a bit of a twist on what actually went down in World War II. So it's kind of like the fall of Hitler and like a what if kind of a scenario.
Yeah, I believe they're going to be focusing on 4 multinational special forces operatives, or the beginning of the special forces. And Petrova here is in the Stalingrad level. We're watching her playthrough, which is absolutely brutal. I think she takes out 100 dudes. She's voiced by Laura Bailey, who was Abby in Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Among
it's gonna be great.
many other things.
Yeah, certainly a lot of talent going behind the game.
Yeah. On the multiplayer side, Paris, do you play Call of Duty multiplayer?
Yeah. I mean, I love Warzone. Things like that. Obviously, that's why everyone keeps coming back every year is because of the multiplayer. I have no doubt that's going to be great. That's going to be something people want to engage with and play, for hours on end. But it'll be interesting to see once we get to more of those reveals and see if they do anything new.
Sure.
Yeah, particularly on the zombies front because they seem to be taking that new direction. So that's cool that they're implementing that and kind of recognizing the fandom behind it and trying to kind of leverage that.
Well, Call of Duty Vanguard is out November 5th, and I think I'm actually going to check it out. The first time in a long time. Of course, Opening Night Live ended, of course it did, with Death Stranding. Geoff Keighley, famously very good pals with Hideo Kojima. And the Death Stranding director's cut is coming out September 24th, so we got another look at some of the new features that are coming to the game. Tina, I know you spent a lot of time with the original Death Stranding.
A lot.
Maybe run us through some of the features that stuck out to you.
Oh, I mean, they called it something particular. They said it was the delivery support, which some of these features were already revealed previous to ONL. But, it's the buddy bot and the catapult, which was already revealed, and then the jetpack, effectively, that you have in your new boosters. I like those things because if I hadn't played it, because it would have just helped you traverse through the game. And I think there was a level of maybe a barrier to entry for some people with Death Stranding because it requires so much grinding. Just like any game that has any level of grinding is going to have that barrier for more mainstream gamers, let's say. So I think those features are going to be really pivotal for people who don't want to go through having to go from point A to point B, which is kind of what Death Stranding is as a game. And then I think the buddy bot actually was revealed at ONL to be a sort of autopilot. I think we've seen buddy bot take your cargo, but I don't think that we knew that you can actually have Sam, Norman Reedus' character, sit on there and just have you like lean back and plot out your next adventure while you go from that point A to point B, which is neat.
Now, Paris, I believe you haven't played Death Stranding before.
I haven't played it, so it's funny as she's talking, saying, "Hey, new players coming in."
That's you.
That would be me, absolutely. So all of these features are new to me, but now that it's going to be, enhanced for the PlayStation 5, they're adding in these additional features. There's new missions, I believe, that you're saying that you're going to be able to do. It'll all be new to me, but I almost take it as, hey, they've had some time to get some lessons learned on, all right, here's what people like, here's what they didn't like. So this would truly be the definitive edition of Kojima's vision. So I'm excited to try it out.
Are you a Metal Gear fan?
I have a complicated history with Metal Gear. I don't think I've ever forgiven Kojima for what he did with Metal Gear Solid 2. And we played with Raiden. I've never forgiven him for that. But I get Kojima. I get the uniqueness of him and his storytelling and all that. So, I mean, yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about Death Stranding, so it sounds like it's time.
Yeah, it might be time to revisit this. Yeah. I played a few hours of Death Stranding when it came out, but then, so this would have been 2019. I think Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order came out, and I bounced off for that, and I loved that game. And then whenever I finished Star Wars, I just didn't go back to Death Stranding for whatever reason. So it's probably time for me to give it another chance.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, especially given the mechanics of Death Stranding, in any game, when you drop off and pick it back up, you forget, like, what do all of these things do? Like, I forget what mission I was in the middle of. Yeah. But so I think that's particularly the case for Death Stranding, because you get into a groove with, like, what exoskeleton really works for you and what terrain and, how you take on the mules. There's all sorts of elements to the game that you get really familiar with when you spend, I don't know, the 80 hours that I spent with this game, something on that level. I will say I do like the introduction in the ONL reveal of being able to replay boss battles, because man, those were really creepy and intense. And it was one of the most like adrenaline rushing moments of the game. So it's cool that you can go and access some of those features. And then there's more customization, there's more music. I will say I've been binge watching The Walking Dead, and so this was in the private room showcase. This was the most of Norman Reedus' face I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, with another opening night live behind us, Paris, what's the game on the horizon? Anything game on the horizon that you're most looking forward to?
For me, it's Horizon Forbidden West.
Wow.
I was really hoping it would come in 2021, but obviously, it's slipping to next year wasn't too big of a shot, but that's just been one of my most anticipated games for a while. I would say after that, and it's more just to see what it's going to be, is that Halo Infinite campaign. Yeah. I just want to know. I just want to see what it is. So those will probably be my two most anticipated as we go into next year.
I assume you're a fan of Zero Dawn then?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was probably the best new IP we had of the last generation, which is why I'm anticipating this one so much. So the fact that they're even doing this 60 frames update for PlayStation 5, I think if you've not played it, now's the time. Jump in and check it out.
Yeah, I want to revisit that because I'm doing that. Well, I did that with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order when they released that version, and then now I'm replaying Ghost of Tsushima. So it's fun to replay all this stuff again. I want to do Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well, because they just released that. But Tina, now the game on the horizon you're most looking forward to?
I mean, Paris, those were good selections because I wasn't expecting, a new release date announcement, aka delay of Horizon. So it's good to kind of be back in anticipation of that game. And I think, I've been a longtime Halo fan, and I really want to know what that campaign is going to be all about. Is it going to stoke the same kind of, competitiveness with friends, the friendly competition, of course, with friends. So I'm very curious about that. But, we touched on this a little bit in earlier segments, but some of the mixture of some of those smaller games that seem really interesting too, quote unquote smaller games, like Cult of the Lamb and Seafood that we were talking about, like they just totally seem up my alley. So I'm gonna say like half of the big games and half of some of the indier flavor of games as well.
Sure. Can I throw a bonus in?
Yeah.
So because this actually was at the Xbox showcase, but replaced, and they just obviously talked about it again.
Yeah.
Easily one of my most anticipated for 2022. And again, talking about a smaller studio indie title, I think they're doing something unique. That music soundtrack they have is just phenomenal. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, same here. But I think in the immediate future, the one I'm most looking forward to playing is Far Cry 6. And I won't have to wait too long for that. We're just a little bit over a month from that now, finally.
Yeah.
Well, that just about wraps us up for our first day of Gamescom coverage, only day one here at IGN. But we're only just getting started. In the days ahead, we've got round-the-clock coverage of all the biggest video game news and tons of exclusive interviews with the people making the coolest-looking upcoming games. We've also got Awesome Indies, a spotlight on some of the most unique and crazy indie games around the corner. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Paris. And from all of us here at IGN, thank you to everyone watching from home.
Gamescom 2021 is presented by USAA Insurance.
From breaking news and exclusives, never-before-seen looks at movies and games, to reviews, let's plays, and live streams, IGN brings you all the coverage you need, no matter where you are. Whether you're on IGN.com, the IGN app, YouTube, Facebook, or Snapchat, we've always got you covered.
In a world with non-stop news about Marvel, DC, Star Wars, you need a show with accurate reporting, hard-hitting commentary, and
Me, Akeem Lawanson, host of IGN's news show, The Fix Entertainment. Whether it's the latest superhero scoop, film fiasco, or anime announcement, I'll be here covering all the breaking movie, TV, and streaming news that matters most to you. Make sure to catch The Fix Entertainment on IGN for your fix of entertainment news. Let's drop it.
What's up, everyone? Sydney here to bring you a little update about the future of IGN on YouTube. We've been listening to your feedback, and it seems like some of you are more into games, while others are more interested in movies and TV. So we got to thinking about it and decided, why not both? Our main channel will still bring you all the biggest news, reviews, previews, and trailers to keep you up to speed on the most important highlights. But if you only want games content 24/7, head over to IGN Games. Movies and TV more your thing? Check out IGN Movies and TV. More channels, more of the stuff you love, more IGN.